If you are watching this video right now, in this exact moment, while the most powerful military on Earth is sinking Iranian boats in the Strait of Hormuz, while ballistic missiles are crossing the sky over the Gulf, while the entire global economy is shifting on its axis, pause for 1 second. Because there is a reason you are watching this, and it is not random. You have always felt different. You have always known you were not put on this earth to live the small life. You read the news and feel something other people do not feel. Not panic, not despair, a knowing, a pull, a sense that you are seeing something that most people walking past you on the street are not seeing. That is not in your head. That is the seal. The most powerful military on Earth just sank 7 Iranian boats in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran fired cruise missiles at the United Arab Emirates. Trump said Iran would be blown off the face of the earth. Within hours, oil prices moved. Within days, every major economy on the planet was repositioning. And here is what almost nobody covering this story is willing to say. Because what is happening between Iran and the United States right now was described by name 2,600 years ago. The exact region, the exact people, the exact weapon, and the exact ending. Jesus himself told us where to look. He told the chosen where to look. And he told us that those who were sealed for this generation would recognize the pattern when others could not. If you are one of the watchers, if the Spirit drew you to this video tonight, type "I see it" in the comments, because the next 30 minutes were written for you. Before we open the prophecy, you need to understand why you specifically are watching it unfold. Because the timing of your existence is not an accident. Out of all the centuries God could have placed you in, out of every era of every civilization, out of every generation that has ever lived and died, He placed you here, in this decade, in this year, in this exact prophetic window. Think about what that means. Of all the souls God could have brought into the world at any moment in time, He chose this one for you. Psalm 139, verse 16. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect, and in thy book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. Every member, every breath, and the day, your day, written before time, placed inside this prophetic window for a reason. And the reason is what Daniel 12, verse 10 describes. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Read that again. None of the wicked shall understand. The wise shall understand. The pattern in the news is invisible to most people walking past you. The bow shattering, the choke point closing, the coalition forming. They see chaos. You see choreography. Because the wise shall understand. And you are reading the headlines like someone who already knows the script. That is the difference between the sleeping and the sealed. Revelation chapter 7 describes a specific group of believers who are marked before the most intense moments of the end. The number is the number of completion. 12,000 from each of 12 tribes, the gathered remnant, the firstfruits, the watchers who carry the mark of being known. And the seal is not ink on the forehead. The seal is recognition. It is the inner knowledge that you were called for this, that you belong to the one who is governing the headlines, that when the nations stagger, you do not. If you have felt that knowing, that quiet certainty that you are not here by accident, let me tell you what you are seeing. You are seeing Jeremiah 49 unfold on a calendar. And the chosen are the ones who recognize it. Now, here is where Jesus himself enters the conversation. Because Jesus did not give the disciples a generic prophecy. He told them specifically what the chosen would see, what the watching ones would recognize. Matthew 24, verse 15. When Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives and the disciples asked him what the end would look like, he said something that almost everyone misreads. He did not say, "Listen, I am about to give you new information." He said something different. He said, "When you see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoever reads, let him understand." Whoever reads, let him understand. He was speaking to the watchers, the wise, the sealed. He was saying, the people who carry the seal will read the prophets and understand. The rest will not. Same words on the same page. Different eyes, different revelation. And he pointed backward to Daniel by name. The moment he confirmed Daniel, he confirmed the prophetic system Daniel was part of. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Zechariah, the whole library. He sealed every prophecy that came before him with his own divine signature. Which means the prophet who described Iran by name 2,600 years ago was not speculating. He was writing under the same authority Jesus would later confirm. And the chosen, the watchers, the sealed, would be alive when the words activated. The prophet was Jeremiah. The chapter is 49. And the nation he names is not called Iran in the text, because the name Iran did not exist in 600 BC. The name in the text is the original name of the region, the name no one in the modern news cycle is using. The name is Elam. If you have never heard a teacher connect Elam to modern Iran, you are not alone. The connection is hidden in plain sight. It is hidden because the text does not give it to those who skim. It gives it to those who study. The wise shall understand, and the chosen are the ones who do the studying. Elam is not a metaphor. Elam is not a symbol. Elam is a geographic location with verified borders, mapped in archaeology, traceable on a satellite image right now. Elam was the ancient kingdom located in what is today southwestern Iran, the province modern Iranians call Khuzestan, the region that contains Iran's largest oil fields, the region that contains the Bushehr nuclear facility, the one nuclear site Israel has historically been most reluctant to strike, the region whose southern coast forms the northern shore of the Strait of Hormuz. Read that again. The exact piece of geography that everything in May 2026 is hinging on, the oil, the nuclear program, the strait, the missile launches, the naval blockade, sits inside the territory the Bible calls Elam. And in 2,600 years, the people group has not moved. The modern Iranian population descends from the same Persian Elamite stock the prophet was writing about. Same land, same lineage, same neighbors. Different name on the map. And here is the verse. Jeremiah 49, verse 35. Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. Break the bow. Now, in 600 BC, the bow was not a weapon. It was a category. The Elamites were famous in the ancient world for one thing: long-range projectile warfare. They were the most feared archers of the ancient Near East. The bow was their signature. The bow was their strategic identity. When Jeremiah says God will break the bow of Elam, he is saying God will break the thing Elam is most known for. And here is what modern Iran is most known for. Not soldiers in the field, not naval power. Long-range projectile warfare. Ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, drones. The bow of Elam modernized. In May 2026, Iran's bow looks like this: 12 ballistic missiles, 3 cruise missiles, 4 drones, fired in a single salvo at the UAE. 11 of the 12 intercepted. 1 drone got through. 1. The bow of Elam fired its arrows. 11 out of 12 fell. Trump's words: "It's all they have left." The Hebrew word Jeremiah uses for break is shabar. Shabar does not mean to bend. It does not mean to weaken. Shabar means to shatter beyond repair. Permanent, structural, final. That is what the verse is describing. And that is what your newsfeed is documenting in real time. Most of the world is reading the same headlines and missing this entirely. You are not, because you are one of the watchers. And the watchers were given eyes that the rest do not have. Jeremiah did not stop with the bow. Most teachers quote verse 35 and stop. They miss the next 4 verses. And the next 4 verses are the entire roadmap of how this ends. Jeremiah 49, verses 36 through 39. And upon Elam will I bring the 4 winds from the 4 quarters of heaven, and will scatter them toward all those winds. And there shall be no nation whither the outcasts of Elam shall not come. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies, and before them that seek their life. And I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord. And I will send the sword after them, till I have consumed them. And I will set my throne in Elam, and will destroy from thence the king and the princes, saith the Lord. But it shall come to pass in the latter days, that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith the Lord. 4 stages, each one specific, each one in order, each one already starting. And the chosen are the ones who recognize the order, while the news cycle still calls it chaos. Stage 1. The bow is broken. Verse 35. The military arsenal, the long-range projectile capability, fails. We are watching this happen right now. 11 of 12. 1 got through. The strikes that were supposed to terrify the region produced the opposite effect. They demonstrated weakness. The bow shattered against the shield. Stage 2. Scattering. Verse 36. The 4 winds, outcasts to every nation. This is not poetic. This is a description of refugee outflow so severe that the population disperses across the earth. Iran has had more than 1 million emigrants leave the country since 2022. The Iranian diaspora in Europe, in North America, in the Gulf, growing every year that the regime tightens its grip. The 4 winds are blowing. The scattering is in motion. Stage 3. Throne. Verse 38. I will set my throne in Elam, and will destroy from thence the king and the princes. The throne of God replacing the throne of the regime, the leadership broken. The princes, the senior commanders, the IRGC generals, the Supreme Council, removed. This stage has not finished, but notice the order. Bow first, scattering second, throne third. Iran is currently in stage 1, transitioning into stage 2. The third stage is not far. Stage 4. But it shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith the Lord. I will bring again, restore, return, heal. The God who breaks the bow is the same God who promises restoration in the latter days. Iran is not destroyed in this prophecy. Iran is broken, scattered, judged, and then restored. And the restoration is in the latter days, the very window of history you are now living in, the very window your existence was designed for. If you feel the weight of this, if the Spirit is confirming that you were placed in this generation to witness exactly this, type the word sealed in the comments. Because the chosen mark themselves while the world sleeps. Now, here is the question every watcher is silently asking. Where does the United States fit in this prophecy? The honest answer: the United States is not named. America is not in the text, not directly. But the role America is playing is described. Jeremiah 49, verse 37. I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies. Their enemies, plural, not Israel alone. Multiple nations seeking Elam's life simultaneously. And in May 2026, that is exactly the configuration we are watching form. Israel rearming for deep strike. The United States launching Project Freedom to break Iran's blockade. Saudi Arabia and the UAE quietly aligning with Israeli air defense systems. An Israeli-supplied Iron Dome intercepting Iranian missiles aimed at Emirati territory. A configuration that did not exist anywhere in human history before this year. America is not the throne. America is not the judge. America is the instrument. The pressure that drives stage 1 into stage 2. The naval power that closes the choke point. The diplomatic weight that isolates the regime. The instrument in the hand of a God who is fulfilling his own prophecy through nations that do not even realize they are fulfilling it. This is exactly how God has worked through history. Cyrus the Persian did not know he was fulfilling prophecy when he released the Jews from Babylon. The Roman general Titus did not know he was fulfilling Jesus' prediction about the temple. The instruments rarely understand the script. They follow their own calculations. The script unfolds anyway. Geopolitics and prophecy are not two stories competing for the same headline. They are one story being told from two altitudes. And the chosen read it from above, while the world reads it from below. Now, here is the part that should change how you think about your own life. Because the title of this video is precise. Jesus already told us exactly how the Iran-US war ends. Already told, past tense, completed action. The ending is locked, which means you are not watching to find out what happens. You are watching to recognize what happens. The recognition itself is the gift. The recognition is the proof of the seal. Isaiah 46, verse 10. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. My counsel shall stand. Not might, not could, shall. The prophecy will not fail because the writer is the executor. And here is what that means for you specifically. Because the chosen are not just observers in this hour, the chosen are the proof. Revelation 14 verses 4 and 5 describes the gathered remnant who stand with the Lamb on Mount Zion. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the firstfruits unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. First fruits. Read that word. The first portion of the harvest. The ones who arrive before the rest. The ones whose existence proves the harvest is real. You are not watching this prophecy unfold from a distance. You are part of the first fruits, the gathered watchers whose recognition of the moment is itself a sign. The seal is not a future event. The seal is the recognition you are doing right now. The Spirit drew you to this video. The Spirit is teaching you the pattern. The Spirit is producing in you the peace that the world cannot produce in itself. While the nations stagger, you are anchored. While the markets shake, your footing is firm. While most people scroll the same headlines and feel anxiety, you scroll them and feel orientation. That is the difference. That is the seal. That is the proof. Psalm 91, verse 7. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. That is the promise to the watchers. That is the inheritance of the sealed. Not absence of trouble, presence of covering. Trouble all around, peace within. Storms outside, stillness inside. The chosen do not avoid the days. The chosen are kept through the days. If that hits you the way it hits me, type "kept" in the comments, because that is who we are. Now, here is what the watcher does in this hour. 3 marks, not assignments, marks. Because the chosen do not strive to act like the chosen. The chosen act like the chosen because of who they are. Mark 1. You watch with discernment, not with dread. The believer who knows Jeremiah 49 watches the news in May 2026 differently than the believer who does not. The world sees missile salvos and feels anxiety. You see missile salvos and recognize the bow shattering. The events are the same. The eyes are different. Jesus said in Luke 21, "When these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh." Look up, not down. Lift, not bow. The chosen watch the script unfold with anticipation, not with panic. That is not strength of personality. That is the seal expressing itself through your nervous system. Mark 2. You pray for the people of Iran, not the regime, the people. There are millions of Iranian Christians worshiping in underground churches right now in the most persecuted country for Christians in the world. The prophecy ends in restoration. The latter-day return of Elam includes the people of Elam coming to the God who broke their bow. The fastest-growing church on earth in the last 20 years is in Iran. The very nation we are watching move through stage 1 of Jeremiah's prophecy is also experiencing the largest spiritual revival in its national history. Both things are true at the same time. The bow is breaking. The harvest is coming. Believers in Iran are being baptized in living rooms, in basements, in apartment blocks where a single word to the wrong neighbor can mean prison. And the church keeps growing. The chosen outside Iran stand with the chosen inside Iran. That is what the gathered remnant does. Across borders, across languages, across persecution. One body. Mark 3. You walk in peace while the world panics. Most of the noise around prophecy on YouTube is anxiety. People predicting dates, people claiming new revelations. Do not get pulled into that current. The chosen are not driven by anxiety. The chosen are anchored by recognition. You do not need a date. You need a posture. Awake without alarm. Alert without anxiety. Watchful without weariness. That is the entire calling of the watcher in this hour, and it is already inside you. You did not have to manufacture it. You only have to recognize it. The Iran-US war is not a chaotic event. It is a chapter, and you were placed in the audience by the author himself. Jesus did not give us a new prophecy about Iran. He gave us something better. He gave us the seal that confirms the prophecy that was already written, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, spoken of by Jeremiah, spoken of, recorded, and now being fulfilled in your newsfeed. And you are alive to see it. Out of every generation that ever lived, you are the one who got to watch. That is not coincidence. That is calling. If this video helped you see the headlines through the eyes of the sealed, do 3 things. Like the video. The algorithm carries the message of the watchers to other watchers, and someone out there is waking up tonight and needs to find this video. Subscribe if you have not already, because the next video walks through the Ezekiel 38 coalition forming around Iran right now, and the gathered remnant should not miss it. And in the comments, share one verse, just one, that the Spirit has given you in this season. The chosen lift one another up through what they share. The bow is breaking. The scattering is starting. The throne is coming. The harvest is forming. And you specifically, watching this right now, were chosen to be alive in this exact moment to witness it. Stay awake. Stay anchored. The world will stagger. You will stand. Because that is what the chosen do.